I remember last year, Gallup came out with a poll, and it discussed American institutions and how Americans feel about institutions. I'm talking about the presidency, the Supreme Court, big business, small business, the police, the military, all of these institutions, universities. And last year, I was amazed at how little confidence Americans had in these institutions, and for good reason. And for good reason. And I was also interested to see if Republicans felt the same way about some of these institutions as Democrats do. And I want to show you today, the new Gallup poll came out. So last year, I was amazed. Congress was rock bottom and still are rock bottom, Congress. And the only institution that ranks below Congress, I'm sorry, below TV news is Congress. TV news, nobody believes TV news. Nobody. And there's a reason for this. I want to show you what the results are and compare them to last year. Take a look and break it down a little bit by partisanship. And I want to give you some reasons and see reasons that you think this is the case. Also, I want to tell you in some of them how things could improve, what my reforms would be. Oh, I've got some reforms. I've got some doozies. I could fix this country lickety split. Yeah, right, Bern. You can't even fix the city. Lickety split. That means fast, by the way, in case you're wondering. This means fast. All right, let's take a look at it right after this.
When your life is on the line, hire the lawyer who lives in our community, works in our community, and worships in our community. I'm Al Saulene, your Panama City Beach lawyer. 850-215-0628.
Don't let back pain and neck pain get you down. Find relief at Brown Chiropractic Center on St. Andrews Boulevard in Panama City. Dr. Sherry Brown helps people heal naturally with chiropractic adjustments and deep tissue massage. Call 769-3777. All right, take a look at this. This is Gallup, the Gallup poll. It just came out yesterday. Confidence in U.S. institutions down. Yeah, this is yesterday's. Average at new low. New lows. Let me change this a little bit here. There. No, I better do it this way so you can see the whole screen. All right. This is amazing to me. So these are the highlights of the story. Significant declines in confidence for 11 of 16 institutions tested. Average confidence across all institutions at new low of 27%. Americans don't trust our institutions. This is devastating. Devastating for the future of this country. I mean, I really want to poke fun and laugh at them, but it's too scary. The future's too scary. And there's a reason these institutions have lost our confidence. You know what most of the reason is? Because of incentives. Because of government incentives that pervert incentives. Instead of these institutions trying to please you and me, they're trying to please various governments. The federal government, they want grants. They want to please where they get their money. And governments have figured this out at every level. And so they fund they subsidize all of these institutions, many of them. And so these institutions want to please the politicians and the government, not the people. And until that's fixed, it's scary. I have young daughters who are entering the world as young adults. And it makes me so sad that filling up a gas tank is so expensive. Forget getting an apartment. On and on. And do you think it's going to get better or worse? Are we going in the right direction or the wrong direction? How much lower can confidence in institutions get before our quality of life is completely destroyed? And whose fault is it? Ultimately, I think it's like the it's like, I always forget the singer's name. Who's the singer? Damn it. Who sings about Margaritaville? I'm gonna look. I'm not gonna go on until somebody tells me the answers. What do I say? Jimmy Buffett. I just got it. It's like the Jimmy Buffett song. You know, at some point, it's our own damn fault. I mean, Mark Sheldon, locally, the county commission, Griff Griffiths, Tommy Ham, Robert Carroll. People are robbing us blind. And what do? Let them. So at some point, it's our own damn fault. But right now, I feel like blaming them because the incentives are screwed up. All right, significant declines. Average confidence across institutions, new time low, 27%. Public most confident in small business. And there's a reason why. Who knows the reason why? All right, let's take a look. Here's the graph. Oh my God. Look at this. These are the institutions. Last year, look how bad Congress was at the very bottom, 12%. 12% of Americans had a great deal or quite a lot of confidence in Congress. This year, it's 7%. 7%. The people who are elected to represent us are not representing us. Neil Dunn, who is my U.S. representative, I am not his constituent. His constituent are the PACs and the big donors and the special interests. You and I are not his constituents. His constituents are the ones who fund him. And I read a book by Peter Schweitzer recently called Extortion by Peter Schweitzer. It was written in 2013. Oh my God. I read this book about 2 months ago. I have a bachelor's degree in political science. I've been studying this stuff on my own for more than a quarter of a century. I did not know how much money was being exchanged from one U.S. representative to another U.S. representative for votes. In college, they taught me it was log rolling. You do this for me, I'll do it for you. No, they buy each other off in Congress, and it's legal. You should read that book, Extortion by Peter Schweitzer. But I, as promised, I have reforms. If Congress, here's a question for you. If Congress has a 7% approval rating, the Senate and the House, 535 of these jokers, if they only have a 7% approval rating, why do incumbents win 95% of the time? You would think that if they were that unpopular. Well, because most people like our own congressman. I like my guy. He brings home the bacon. It's those other 534 that I don't like. So here's my reform. If I were the king, I would say from now on, you can only vote for other people's congressmen, not your own. Would that be pretty good, right? You don't get to vote for your own guy. You get to vote 534. I keep forgetting the Senate. Yeah. Then we'd have some changes, wouldn't we? I'm thinking tonight. Can you believe that? A dip, 5% dip in just 1 year? But look right above that. Television news. There's a guy who used to be a pretty good investigative reporter down in Tampa or Orlando, something like that, about 4 years ago. Noah Pransky is his name, and reporting was his game. If I'm rhyming tonight, I'm going to do good. He used to be really great. And then about 3 years ago, he left. And he started doing these weird reports. And he works for some TV channel now. It's like, I forget what it's called. It's like it's a new network. I looked up the new network's mission statement. The mission statement is not to present news. It is to recruit young people into the Democrat Party. It doesn't say Democrat Party, but it's their policies are progressive. And so now this guy, if I ever want to know what the talking points are, like what words they're using this week, I just go look at Noah Pransky. It's part of what is known as the Trusted News Network, which is a propaganda effort, a gigantic enterprise to brainwash the American people. If you wonder why news isn't news anymore, there's a reason for it. And I've told you this many times. The biggest reason why newspapers, radio, and television are not reporting the news anymore. They're not even, here's how you know something's really wrong. When news outlets no longer try to scoop each other, they're no longer news outlets. They are a coordinated PR firm. I think it was around 2015-ish. 80% of the news outlets in America were bought by 6 corporations: Disney, AT&T, Comcast. These corporations bought 80% of the media. Why didn't they buy more? Because by law they can't. 6 corporations are now running 80% of the news media. And Jeff Bezos, Amazon, owns the Washington Post. These are now PR firms. They are public-private partners with government. And the book Extortion, which was written 2 years before that, explains why the corporations got smart, bought up the news outlets, which hoard themselves out for $1. And now we have no free and vibrant press in this country. We have a gigantic PR firm. Nobody believes them, though. They're not very good at it. But that's what happened to news in America. There are very few independent news outlets, although the news outlets that are independent are more trusted and are doing better because people want the truth. People want the news. And the news, journalism should be, the number one job of journalism is to be a watchdog of power. A watchdog of power, of government, big corporations. But big corporations own the media. They are no longer a watchdog. They're a lapdog. But there are shows like this, but that focus on big stories and are very big, that are doing great. And I'm so glad to see that. The whole thing's changing. So there might be a light at the end of the tunnel. That's not an oncoming train. That's my prayer. But television news, they are lying themselves to death. Am I right or wrong? And look at that. Right above them are the folks who bought them. Big business. From 18% to 14%. Who the hell were they 18% last time? I want to read your comments. Thank you, Marcus. It's probably lower. That's right. I like it. Let's see. Yeah, there is that too. The tribalism is strong in America right now. The tribalism is so strong in America. Oh, Randy, I love it. Now you're talking. Project Mockingbird. Whew, I love that. All right, I'm looking at it here. Oh, Stan, right on, man. Did you meet John? Did you go in there and see John? I hope you did. That's where I get my hats and stuff. All right, let me keep going here because I want to go over some of this other stuff. Confidence in U.S. institutions have gone down. So let's look at who's at the top. Small businesses are at the top. Do you know why? Why? Because unlike Congress, small businesses have to earn your money. They are not awarded your money. They don't tax you for your money. They must earn it. And in order for you to voluntarily hand over your money, you've got to want what they've got, and you've got to like what they've got, or you won't buy it again. So small businesses, the incentives are not perverted. This is so important, what I'm about to tell you. I hope you write it down. I hope you remember it. And I wish that politicians would as well. All right, I want my chapstick. I'm a chapstick junkie, by the way. If I ever leave the house and I don't have my wallet, but if I don't have my chapstick, it is an emergency. I mean, I got to get the wallet so I get another chapstick. I mean, it's a serious issue. I'll start making phone calls. All right, so small business have to earn your money, but this is the important point. Please remember this. America will be better when dollars are earned and not awarded. Would you agree? Because dollars that are earned are better than dollars that are awarded. Dollars that are earned are productive. Dollars that are awarded, they're not productive. Every dollar that's taxed becomes a political dollar. We need more dollars that are awarded, not political dollars. That's why small business is number one, because it's the only one on this list. Well, the news, but they just sold out, I guess. The only one, they're being subsidized by big corporations that really have to earn your money. Everybody else has bad incentives. The military, number two. All of these organizations, these institutions have fallen a little bit, though. So only small business and the military exceed 50% confidence of the American people. The police are next. They took a dip, of course, and they took a dip before that, too, because of the whole defund police and propaganda against police. The medical system, which has been perverted as hell, like crazy. Do you think that your dog or your cat, if your dog or cat gets sick and you need quick treatment with your dog or cat, you can go and you pay the vet. You get pretty quick treatment, don't you? Dogs and cats get quicker and better treatment than humans because they still have somewhat of a system where the vet has to earn your money. Unlike the medical system. Churches, religion or organized religion, boy, they've fallen a lot. I don't know a lot about that, but I do know honest pastors who are very ticked off at churches because I guess rather than telling the truth, they've got certain rules they got to follow to keep their incentives, government rules. Every time we go a rank lower, just about every time, you can see that that the incentives are being perverted worse and worse and worse. Large tech companies, only 1 in 4 have any faith in them. The Supreme Court has dipped, and that's because Democrats are pissed off at the Supreme Court, right? The Supreme Court's illegitimate now. They used to love the Supreme Court. The presidency, that's a free fall. I wonder why. 81 million, baby. Newspapers, local newspapers are a wreck. I was talking with somebody today. When I got here in 2007, people complained about the News Herald because people love to complain about newspapers. But the News Herald in 2007 was actually a very good newspaper. The editor was a guy named Phil Lucas, a real newspaper man. And the editorial writer, the one who wrote the institutional opinions of the newspaper, which were freedom-oriented, was a guy named Scott Kent. Scott Kent is still an editorial writer. I think he's in South Florida now. Probably the best opinion writer in America. Scott Kent. Dude is amazing. Amazing. I mean, I don't meet a lot of people. This is going to sound so arrogant. I don't meet a lot of people, because I studied this for a long time. This is my thing, right? Where I meet somebody and I go, damn, he's a better writer than I am. Damn, he knows more about politics than I do. Holy crap, he knows more about history than I do. Scott Kent is that guy, right? Like if you're an MMA fighter and you could beat everybody's ass and you meet another MMA fighter and he beats you every time and you go, wow, that dude is good. That's Scott Kent. Scott Kent is good. Look him up. All right, let's take a look at this. Gallup first measured confidence in institutions in 1973 and has done so annually since 1993. Here's where I'm going to start taking a look at the partisanship aspect of this stuff. Like, where did Democrats and Republicans differ the most? And are we ever going to get along again? Where do I fall in? Do you think I'm a Republican or a Democrat? I want to see what your answers are. Am I a Republican or am I a Democrat? All right, I'm going to take a look at your answers right after this.
It's a hot time in Florida, and my friend Ryan can make sure your air conditioning is running at peak efficiency. He could even install a new one, built to a higher standard, American standard. Find out more at PCAirRepair.com.
You want to look good? You want to feel good? Little John's Big and Tall is where it's at, right across the street from Sky's Pizza Pie, 5700 North Davis Highway. You can find out more online at littlejohnsbigandtall.com. He's also a member of the iTex trading community, where your iTex dollars are welcome.
All right, let's see. Wow, you guys are good. Let's see. First guess was Lisa said Republican. No, I'm not, believe it or not. I have divorced the Republican Party twice. I actually married the Republican Party twice. I divorced them. I am not a Republican. Let's see. Rhonda says Libertarian. I am not a member of the Libertarian Party. Libertarian, says Stan. I'm not a member of the Libertarian Party. Marcus is correct. That's right. I am I wouldn't even say, Randy, believe it or not, I wouldn't even say I'm conservative, and I'll tell you why. I am more libertarian, small L. I'm a freedom guy. I'm a liberty guy. One of the questions, I'm a no party affiliate is the answer. And I'll leave it at that. Right? You know where I stand. Here's where I stand on an issue. Somebody once said, I never know where you come down on an issue. This was about 15 years ago, because I said drugs, prostitution, and gambling should all be legal. Whoa, that's not very conservative. Someone said, but wait a minute. How do you come down on these issues? How do you come down the issues? I'll tell you how I come down the issues. I have a 3-word filter in my head. Take the issue. Take prostitution. Now, I'm not saying you should do that. And if my friends were doing it, I'd grab them by the lapels and shake them and tell them to knock it off. But I don't think they should be arrested for it. Right? So there's a 3-word filter in my head. Is it voluntary? Considering we're all adults, which these days, what's the deal with the pedo stuff, man? What is the deal with children and women under attack in this country lately? What is a woman? You don't even know that answer. How can you say that, Bernie? Well, it's a woman. Can you believe this nonsense? They don't even believe it themselves. Is it voluntary? So, if I do not believe that the government, through the crushing force of law, should stop voluntary exchanges. That is why I call myself a liberty/libertarian, small L libertarian, not part of the party. And I also have some other questions like, is it constitutional? When it comes to public policy, does it work? Is it constitutional? Show me the evidence where it's worked before, not just rhetoric or a speech. So, boy, I went off on that one, didn't I? Conservative. Okay, so let me tell you about that. That's very interesting. I think I'm going to write I'm starting to write columns again. I just finished one. It'll be out soon. But the one that I want to write, I was watching the Republican debate last week. Brian Cloudis and Griff Griffiths and Regina Piazza and Jay Trumbull. And the question was, define conservatism. Define conservatism. And nobody really could do it. And if I had been put on the spot, I wouldn't have had a satisfactory answer in my own head, right? Because I'm a big believer, if you can't define something within a few sentences, you really don't understand it yet. And so I am writing an article about what is conservatism. And I'll share it with you when I get it done, probably in a week or two. But the reason I say I'm not a conservative is the same reason Milton Friedman said he wasn't a conservative. I am a conservative in the sense like Barry Goldwater. I think his book was written in 1963, Conscience of a Conservative. He said, and I agree with him, he said that conservatism is about expanding freedom and defending the Constitution. Now, under that definition, you can count me in. But because traditional conservatives in America believe prostitution, drugs, and gambling should be illegal, the state should stop you. I believe that your family and your church and your community should discourage you through reason, not through the crushing force of law. Okay, goodness, let's get back to this. Average confidence in major U.S. institutions from 1979 when the Department of Education was founded under Jimmy Carter. That's when it was established, the Federal Department of Education. Before that, there was no Department of Federal Education. 2 years before that, the Department of Energy. How much energy does the Department of Energy provide? These words are all topsy-turvy. None of them are what they say they are. All right, so let's see. Wow, look at that. Look how Americans have lost confidence in institutions. I don't know this for sure as a matter of data, but I would bet that if you look at this graph and you start to ask yourself from 1979 until now, have these institutions been more subsidized by the federal government and state governments? And the answer is yes. As institutions become subsidized, they become beholden to where they get their money. And so they become political. And they seek to please politicians rather than the people. And to me, that line goes right along with it. The confidence average is also down 9 points from 2020, when Americans rallied around some of the institutions most affected by the COVID-19, expressing greater confidence in the medical system. Yeah, well, the last year has taught us a lot about that nonsense too. All right. All party groups, here we go, have less confidence in institutions. All partisan groups are generally less confident in the 16 U.S. institutions than they were a year ago. You know, I haven't had confidence in these institutions for a very long time. So I really haven't changed a whole lot. But finally, more people are coming around where I am. It's funny what getting the middle finger from these institutions will do year after year. All right, all partisan groups are generally less confident. All three party groups, Republicans, Independents, and Democrats, are much less confident in the presidency than they were a year ago. I wonder why. Well, I wonder why. What about Mr. Experience, Joe Biden? I mean, he was just so popular as a candidate. I've never seen somebody so confident that people voted for him for weeks after the election. It was amazing how much people loved him. And now, just 1 year later, or is it? God, it's more than that, isn't it? A year and a half later. I'm amazed that he's still in office, to be honest with you. I didn't think he would last 4 months. Beyond that, major changes among party groups tend to be isolated to one or two groups. 91 million, huh? Democrats and independents show more than a double-digit loss in confidence in the Supreme Court, with no meaningful change among Republicans. Here's the problem with the Supreme Court. The problem is, you think the Supreme Court issues rulings, right? Congress passes a law. It's out. The Constitution never gave them the authority to do it. President signs it into law. These alphabet soup agencies start adding their rules to it. People get screwed. Somebody sues, makes its way up to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court issues a ruling. And this little oligarchy, 5 people in black robes, get to rule the rest of everybody else. Now, that's not what the Supreme Court is supposed to be. As a matter of fact, they don't issue rulings. They issue opinions. And if you don't believe me, go to the Supreme Court website and look at the top where those little labels are and find rulings. You won't find them. You'll find opinions. Anybody who thinks that 5 people should rule free people, that is absurdity on crack. That's what that is. They issue opinions. They should not issue rulings. So the problem is everybody's been putting too much faith in the Supreme Court and bowing to the Supreme Court for too long. That's one problem. That's a major problem. But here's another one. You know, now Democrats are so angry. What makes today different than any other day? Democrats are so angry. They want to do what FDR wanted to do. Pack the Supreme Court. We've got how many justices? 9. 9 justices in the Supreme Court. How many does the Constitution say we have to have? It doesn't. It doesn't. We don't have to have 9. In fact, for a long time, we had 8. And as a matter of fact, that's how many I think we should have. We should have 8 Supreme Court justices. Democrats think we should have 20 or something. They want to add like 11, right? Send 11 more of our guys and gals, women and mostly other. Send a bunch of others in there and start turning stuff around, baby. That's what they want. But what I wish we had was, first of all, an understanding that they don't issue rulings, damn it. We're free people. Number 2, I wish we only had 8 Supreme Court justices. Why, Bernie? Why 8? My God. Because then we wouldn't get razor thin opinions that come down with the crushing force of law in this country. I would prefer to see, if they're going to make an opinion that is held up by all of the states and the federal government, I'd rather see it be a 5-3 decision, not a 5-4 decision. Make it harder. That's what I would do. A lot of things I would do. All right, let's take a look at this. So, wow, isn't this interesting? So you see these as the last 2 years for each of these 3. I guess fall in the middle. I guess I'm an independent, right? No party affiliate. So small business, even Republicans are losing faith in small business. In 2021, it was 77%. It's down to 73%. Democrats, Republicans, and independents, okay, all 3, the only 2 institutions that they had more than 50% confidence in, small business and the military. But you can see that Democrats are on one side, Republicans are on the other side, and predictably independents typically fall in the middle. But look, let's get down to the ones on the bottom. I'm interested in television news because my Democrat friends, and I have some, my Democrat friends, they love television news. I mean, they think CNN is thebomb.com. You know, they go online, they can't find it because that's what they type in the URL. I say, no, it's CNN.com. These are Democrats. So I have to help them get there. But when they get to CNN, oh, come on. When they get to CNN, we can't joke anymore in this country. Jokes are not funny, Bernie. Evidently. So when they get to CNN, boy, they love it. Where's Don Lemon? What's he saying? Where's the other guy? He got kicked off. Yeah, he got kicked off. Sexual harassment stuff. He was sexually harassing women. Don Lemon's sexually harassing men. Have you heard that story? Oh my God. That guy's gross. The stuff he does. He's gross because he does it against people's will and in bullying ways. Don Lemon's a bully. So look at that, though. Look how much confidence Democrats had in television news. 26% last year, but even Democrats went down 6 points to 20%. Even Democrats are losing faith in television news. That's amazing. I don't understand that one. That's one I don't get. Because, well, maybe that's what gas prices do. Maybe even for my Democrat friends, when you're told if you get a vaccine, you won't get sick, and you get 3 vaccines and a couple boosters and you're sicker than ever, or whatever the deal is. Or maybe you know somebody who got 3 vaccines and a couple of boosters and they died unexpectedly. That's a big thing now, by the way, dying unexpectedly. Look that up. That's crazy. So maybe even when they're told, you know, I'm going to kill the virus, not the economy, by the most popular candidate ever, when they're told that gas prices are going to be great and all of this stuff, and it hurts too bad, maybe that's why it went down to 20%. Maybe reality sunk in. You know, one of my favorite quotes is by Ayn Rand. Ayn Rand said this. Tell me this isn't a great one. She said, you can ignore reality, but you can ignore reality, but you cannot ignore the consequences of ignoring reality. Maybe that explains why even Democrats went from 26 to 20% in their confidence in television news. But Congress, even Congress, I mean, it's a Democrat Congress. I mean, you've got leadership, you've got Democrat leadership in Congress. Look at Nancy Pelosi. You know, you've got Democrats in charge of the Senate. You've got Democrats in charge of the Congress. Chuck Schumer, man. I mean, these are people with a lot of experience, and they call the shots. Democrats lost that much faith in Congress, and they're in charge of the House and the Senate. That's incredible. That's incredible. Republicans didn't have much faith last year, have a little less this year. Independents, the same. I mean, Congress, 5% faith among Republicans, 7 among independents, and 10 among Democrats. Big business, nobody really likes big business because they are the ones buying the politicians to pass the coercive laws that we have to live under that benefit them and hurt small businesses and the rest of us. Thinking back about the lockdowns, pre-lockdown, I don't call it pre-pandemic, pre-lockdown, right? Pre-lockdown and post-lockdown. When you look at it, when you look at that, who was considered essential and who was considered not essential? I'm gonna have to go back and find my commentaries from that time. I remember saying, wait till Americans find out that everybody's essential. Wait till you find out what happens to supply chains when some people aren't allowed to go to work, when that industry is not considered essential. Do you know, I mean, if you care to do this, you won't be sorry. This will enrich your life. This is the best I got all night. I save it till the end. If you want to know what I'm talking about, there is a short essay, and I mean, it's a short little like article called I, pencil, like me, I, pencil. That's the name of it. I, pencil. How many people do you think it takes to make a pencil? Just an ordinary little pencil. I mean, that's not that hard. Carve out a little thing, put some lead in there. It's graphite. Put some lead in there. You know, that can't be that difficult, right? How many people? 3, 4? I mean, Bill Davenport could probably make it by himself. He grew up in the Midwest. What I'm saying is, when you read I pencil, no one person can make a pencil. It takes unbelievable amounts of effort to get the graphite out of the ground, to get the trees, to get the paint, to get the metal, to get it's not really rubber, is it? To put this thing together. Oh my God. Different parts of the world to make one pencil. Nobody can make one pencil. So when you start saying that this industry is not essential, but that industry is essential, and you don't see what that's going to do to the supply chain, not just for pencils. And here we are. Maybe that's why people are starting to come around. You can ignore reality, but you can't ignore the consequences of ignoring reality. Isn't that the truth? All right, I'm going to wrap it up. I just wanted to share some of this with you tonight. Oh, that's great, Stan. That's exactly right. There we go. That's probably even better. I like these children books. Gosh, I could go read all these right now, but I'm gonna read them after the show. Hey, thanks for being with me. I know it's a different kind of show, but to be honest, these are the kind of shows I prefer to do. Although I've got some big ones coming for you, local big stuff coming for you. But people who teach these kinds of lessons, such important ones, groups like Americans for Prosperity, AFP Florida, you can actually volunteer with AFP Florida, Americans for Prosperity. It's the largest grassroots organization in America, and I'm grateful for them.
Americans for Prosperity is the largest grassroots organization advancing policies that help people improve their lives. AFP Florida seeks to end corporate welfare. expand energy options, and reform education and healthcare by giving people more choices. Sign up today and volunteer at americansforprosperity.org.
All right, I think that's it. I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for being with me. I'm not celebrating Americans' decline in confidence in our U.S. institutions, but I am happy that it's calibrating to reality. And that's going to force some sort of a correction. It's going to be painful, and I'm not sure we'll come out of it. I'm really not. But no matter. It doesn't change you. It doesn't change me and our obligation to do what we're supposed to do every day. Whether America's fine or not, whether we win or not, does not change our obligation to do all that we can do. It doesn't absolve us from our responsibility to do all we can do, to teach what works, to stand up for other people, for liberty, for property rights, for the rule of law. And we can do it best when we do it locally, and we can hold these corrupt institutions accountable and make those people who are ruining those institutions pay the political price by voting their asses out of office, by making public record requests, by going to the meetings and making them uncomfortable, by being passionate but never rude at the meetings. They're rude. We're not rude. We're passionate, and we're right. And we're making a difference. But we can't make a difference in Washington, D.C. The whole place is surrounded by a wall. But we can make a difference at City Hall. We can make the ground rumble at City Hall, can we not? All right, now that I'm fired up, rolling up my sleeves, I'm out of here. I'll see you soon. Thanks for being with me.